Hello, everyone. As our day three challenge, we will be working on creating button components from scratch on basic level. And for this, I have gathered some content, means categories on how buttons can be divided into different categories is here. So first of all, let's start by defining the button. Buttons are a user interface element that is important in guiding users on where to interact, where to navigate within your digital product. It means buttons are there to motivate user to initiate an action, like create a form, submit a filled form, save. So a well-designed button should be able to grab um, attention of the user on the screen that is filled with different elements and guide him to the flow that we have made. So if you go on Dribble and just simply type button types and you will find a few examples. So to inspire yourself what you will be building or what you in which direction you can go. So here is this person. He has arranged the buttons beautifully, like he has divided primary buttons and different states in different sizes, and similarly the secondary buttons. You can also look for the states like primary buttons and secondary buttons as the word here, and you will find beautiful examples on what can be done. This is a small example of how we can make that. These are the primary buttons, these are secondary buttons, these are tertiary buttons, and these are ghost buttons. So, a few examples to show you what to expect after you have completed the task in this tutorial. So, now that we know what buttons are and what we will be making, so let's break it down. So, first of all, there are buttons uh, that we want user to must click. So, we are calling them primary buttons. Primary buttons highlight whatever user should do on our screen from our side, or user came to do something on your app on that certain screen. So that button is there, that primary button is there to guide him to click on it. So now let's see the example. So if I go to Moben and I'm gonna search for sign up screens. You guys are familiar with sign up screens, and here you can see whatever button stands out the most on the screen is the primary button. So you can see this continue, you can see this continue. So again, Airbnb has this pink buttons, Uber has black, and Patreon also has the black button. Now in here, you will see this button is inactive, which means it is still visible, but it clearly indicates we have to do something before clicking on this button. So again, buttons are there to guide users on what to do in screen. These are the primary buttons. Then we have secondary buttons. So secondary buttons are alternatives to primary buttons. So it means if the primary button is not the only way of moving away from that screens or moving forward from this screen, we need to add a secondary button. And here the example is, so continue is what we want user to do as a business, as a platform owner, or as a user. I came here to log in or sign up. So it means a button should be guiding me. So this is the button. This is the primary way we want user to complete this flow. But if they don't want to manually enter the details, we still want them to log in and sign up. So we are giving them some alternative options they can choose to move forward. So these are the secondary buttons. So you will also find some examples like cancel paired with save. Means if somebody creates something, they should be able to save. But what if they don't want to? We can't force them to do things. So secondary buttons are there. So this particular video that I am making is focused on guiding you how to make the component and get you familiarized with the basic types of buttons. So here, this should be clear that these are not the only types of buttons there. So on third, there can be tertiary buttons if you are working in a web platform, like a full-blown software design. So you will need tertiary buttons. They fall in the third number, and they are like those buttons which we want to be on screens. They We don't want you to, them to be very attention grabbing, but whenever user needs it, the action should be there. Now the text element. So most of the time in smaller screen and mobile app design, you will be needing these three buttons. But if you are creating something complex, you might run into a situation where you want tertiary button. Feel free to make them. But right now, to focus on link buttons. So again, if you go in more detail, you probably will need link button separately and these two separately. So like this can be broken down to further two more types, but right now I'm combining all three of them. They sort of are similar, but do give them a read by searching them individually. There are differentiations. So if I check for link buttons, so you will see these kind of things appear. So when we were creating the designs for sign up screens, and there were links we needed to add within the whole paragraph or line we were typing, so we needed the same text to have portion of it stand out to be clickable. So this kind of thing happens. So this is a link or a text only button, or a button with no background or a border around it. So uh, we will, like, as based on hierarchy, we will have three or four types of buttons, or maybe five if we break these two further down. Now, based on the categories, I think you will explain it when we are actually working on them. So state is just something that when you are clicking on something or interacting with an element, how it interacts and how it changes. Then there are some sizes you will be needing. For this particular video, we will be making two sizes, 40 and 52. Keeping in mind that the first project you will be working on will be a mobile application, and in mobile application, we won't be needing a lot of sizes. But if you are working on a web platform, you will need three to four sizes. You can call them small, medium, and large. And they can, in web, we can also use 32 or even 28 height buttons, because the cursor size is smaller than our finger touch area. But in mobile, we will be needing at least 48 points or 40 button with enough padding and spacing around it. So I chose to go with these two sizes, and we will also touch base on how it changes in mobile. And these are the things. Categorization based on icons will also be there when we are working. Like this will be better explained when we are actually working on them. Now, this is something when you are done working on the first four steps, I would encourage you guys to explore them, because this is just based on colors. All other steps will be same that we will do on from the top 4 points for the top 4 points. So I have gathered some colors. You can take some screenshots for the colors and use this same color palette if you want, or feel free to create your own and explore your favorite application and pick up the colors they are using. So I will be needing two background colors. uh, like the plan I have in my mind, I think that this palette is based on that. We probably will need more colors, or maybe leaving some of the colors. But I don't want to rethink every time I'm adding the color, so I made a palette here. So five gray colors, each color for primary, secondary, errors, and success. I have made three variations. The center one is the one that we will be using as default. One is the lighter version of it, and one is the darker. Same goes for all of the other three colors. And I'm stopping here so you guys can take a screenshot of this section too. Now, the naming convention. So in previous challenges, I was calling them something like dark, light, and medium. That can still work, but now since we will be working on designing actual components, naming them blue light or green light, it will be confusing if we later have to change the color. So let's gradually introduce you guys to naming them. So this is the technique we use by so we can need a color in 10 variation, up to 10 variations. So we start from 100 and we go up to 900, and we can even try to give them names like 10, 20, 30. So it's your priority. I have chosen to go from dark to light, means the darkest color I have will have the 100 code, and as it become lighter, it works, it, the number increases. This is about it. Now for the exploration. So this is what we will be designing. A button. This is in default state when you hover over it, and then it is when it is pressed, and then when it is loading, and when this is inactive. So you can explore with the colors. I am going to choose this blue is as a primary color, but you can make this one as a primary blue color, sorry, primary color, and see how that turns out. Now there is one detail about the light, because I wanted to have these buttons with shadows and everything. So for shadows, there is one important detail that you need to know is where do you think your light will be coming from. So if I focus on this particular button, you're gonna see this has a light effect on the top, like light is hitting on the top and it is darker from the bottom. So to understand this, focus on the top, that this light is coming from 45 degrees, and where light hits, the color of the button is lighter, but where it doesn't hit, means this area is hidden, and it is rather darker. So this is a basic thing. You can read about shadows a little more, but this is what I have in plan, like 45 degrees angle of light. You can also have a 90-degree light, means coming from the top, and then the shadow will not be on the side, but just bottom and the top, and it will be like covering this area. But for this particular video, we will be having 45 degree buttons. So let's get you guys started. Now, this is all what we will be creating, and give it a read. We will have full buttons. You will see what are the full buttons. For now, like there are two variations, icons only and the full buttons. Then these are 40 and 52 are for the sizes. And then these are the states that we will be focusing on. Now I'm gonna lock this as a background so the names, so I don't mess up with anything in this. And here, locked. Now the buttons. So this is the style we will be creating, and let's start what we will need. So let's bring two icons. So I'm gonna bring a circle and I'm gonna bring a rectangle as a dummy icons. I'm gonna be placing them here so you can see it. I've locked the buttons screen so nothing falls into this. And they need to be a component. And then I'm gonna need the text. So it says buttons. The color I will be using the same as this one. Oh no, actually I have my color palette, so I'm gonna bringing my own colors, which is the dark gray for now, and see where it go what I need. So I'm gonna select all three of them, and in the fill I'm gonna add my own color. Oh, selection color, sorry, because not all of them have fill. I'm gonna press Shift A, or from here you can apply use auto layout. And when you apply auto layout, it will automatically have some settings applied on it. I want this to be center aligned, and I want the gaps between the elements to be at least 8. Now, notice I am designing for 40 size button, and I'm going to call this button, and I am going to call this default. The slash divides the categories in Figma. So right now I just want to, without making it further complicated and have two or more sections within it, just focus on one slash, that the element name is button and it is in default state. But this is a primary button. It needs to have some sort of fill. So you can explore all the primary buttons and you will see all of them are filled with a color. So what was my primary color? I'm going to go bring it up. So this 200 color is what I will be using as a primary color. So I'm going to give this that fill, and the text on this blue will be F. So I change the colors. Now I need to have its height. So height I have already planned. I want this to be 40, and when this is 40, I'm going to click on these icons. So there are a few details you will be noticing. So these icons by default are 24 because I made the component in 24 size. But in this case, when I have chosen a 16 sized text in semi bold and line height 20. These look bigger than the buttons. We don't want them, so we are going to select both of them. Make sure the aspect ratio is locked, and resize them to 20. So this is visually balanced. Now what I'm going to do is add some padding. Again, if I select this icon and see how much of a vertical padding I get, so this is showing me 10 by 10 points, like top and the bottom have 10 distance. And I have not manually given any vertical padding. It's just because the height is fixed and we have center aligned element. We got this. So what I want to do is I have to make sure that my horizontal padding, which is right and left padding, is more than from vertical padding, means top and bottom padding. So I'm gonna go make and choose a number bigger than 10. So as I want to use multiples of 4, I chose 16. Every time you're not sure, zoom it out to 100% and see how it looks. So I think padding works fine. If you want to explore, you can increase the gap by a few points, like keep it 12. Then you will have to increase the padding a little more. Again, the same rule as we applied on the grid on the last video, that margins need to be bigger than the gutters. So the side padding will be bigger than the spacing between the elements. So this will also get bigger this will become 20. But I think I like the 8 gap and 16 padding. And now I want to round those corners. So here you can decide what style of button you want. You can go have it rounded slightly and see how it looks very sharp, or you can have it rounded to 4, 6, or 8. So let's try 8 and see how this looks. Very good, uh, modern. But you can also make it like extremely rounded, so like this. So with this is a rounded button, and even, yeah, it looks good. I want to go with this kind of button for this assignment. And by rounding the buttons, I think the padding on the sides is affected, so I'm going to add a few more points. So I am going to bump this up from 16 to 20 now. Yeah, the roundness took some area from the side, so I wanted to fill that. Now I have the default button in primary button in default state ready, which is a full button. Means it has a text and a leading icon and a trailing icon. Leading is the one that is before the text, like in the start, and trailing is something that comes after. Now what I want to do is come here. So in mobile we have the press state. You can go in any app and you use any good app you use. When you press on it, it interacts in a certain way. So pressed is the state for mobile. But when we are working in the web platforms, we also need a hover state. Means if you in click on something, sorry, hover on something, it should it should attract user that yeah, this is clickable. But we cannot do hover state in mobile. Make sure you know that. And now I'm gonna rename this as pressed. And in press state, I'm going to quickly take you guys here. You see, in press state, I decided that I wanted this to go lighter. So I'm just going to select this button and change the fill to the lighter one. Now it is light. Don't worry, I know it looks different. We will be adding shadows later. Right now, we are just creating the base. Now, even on the hover, I want this to look like this. You can have a separate state for this, but for me, I don't want to go in a lot of details and like 5 or 6 colors in use for this particular video since this is aimed for beginners. So don't worry if you're pressed and the hover state looks same. But there is certain thing that happens if you click on any button which is well designed. You can check your uh, a few more than one platforms and see if you click on that button how does that react. So there is this thing that comes in material design, which is this sort of effect comes. So there is a circle when you press on it or hover over it. Sorry, not for the hover, I pressed on it. It looks like that from here, from this certain place, a user has clicked. So which means if you press the button from here, the circles appear, or if you press from here, the circle appears. So I'm gonna place this button here. So what I did is, let me quickly do it in front of you. I'm gonna delete this old one. So I'm gonna bring a circle, ellipse, and I'm gonna make it this. Place it outside, fill it with F, and I'm gonna name it pressed. Now, this fill, it needs to be within this button, but it needs to have an absolute position. So I'm gonna give it a size of 48 points and center align it. But you can see it is causing some problem. So what I'm gonna do is the fill, I am gonna make it either fill or opacity. You can make it to 10%. So you can see the difference here. So just to show you guys how this is gonna change, I'm gonna place it on the top. So feel free to read how this interacts. So this circle is supposed to come wherever user press this button and make a ripple effect. So you can read more about it on material design. But yeah, this is what we decided on the press state. Now on hover, it doesn't need to have a circle because it is not pressed and taking so much attention. We won't need this. So there is one more thing I'm gonna do. So there is this function in Figma which brings auto animate as smart animate, sorry, smart animate. So which means if the element layer has the same name, it can interact in a certain way smoothly. So what I want to do is press and copy this circle and place it in this button too, and I'm gonna resize it, align it in the center and stick it in the top so you can still see it, and reduce the opacity to 0. So now I'm going to select this and paste it in other variations too. So whenever we are coming from one state to other, it animates in the right way. We will check how it works in a few seconds, in a few minutes, but this is what we are doing. So now we have a focus state. Focus state is mostly needed when you are working in website design. What it does it when So I am on this screen and I press tab button on my laptop. You see some of this content is it will be highlighted. You will see it varies on different platforms. Now I can use my to arrows and enter key to move around. So when it gets stuck, just press enter. So now I can you can see I am using arrows and it is moving things. I hope you can see it. Again, let me refresh it. Maybe on other platform. Yeah, here. So I'm gonna press tab again. You see logo is has a border around it. Now if I use arrow key, it moves to the next. Okay, this doesn't have very accessibility things done to it. Let's try it on moving. None of them are working the way I wanted you guys to explain. But in the platforms which are accessibility compatible, they will have this thing happening, which happened in the start when I press the tab, and something or button or a content on the screen that can be clicked will be highlighted with the border around it. So if somebody does not have a mouse or have motor issues and they cannot use mouse, they should be able to use your platform using uh, arrow keys. So that's what we want to do here. Weird that I couldn't find an example quickly. But feel free to look for more websites. Now for this one, I need like to show you design. What I want is this background coming in this around this button. So I'm gonna grab and make a frame of the same size. Width is 147 and button height is 40. And what I'm gonna do is remove the fill and add a stroke. For stroke, I want to choose the darkest color, this one, and I'm gonna fill this with this color. Now again, I'm gonna make the rounds. You can do this, the make the corners round, but you will also see the examples of all these blocks coming to very square or rectangle form. So feel free to see what you liked. I'm gonna name it focused. Sorry, focused. Is this layer has a focus name? Now I'm gonna control X and I'm gonna paste it within this button. It needs to be pasted here. So here again, I'm gonna make it absolute position and align it from the right. Make the constraints right to left and top to bottom and make sure it is in the right place. Now what I'm going to do is use my arrows to move it a little outside. First, I need to make the borders to be outside. By default, they should be inside, but for this particular design, we will be having outside borders. So I'm going to use my arrows to move the rectangle 2 points behind and 2 points on the top, which means I need to make it bigger by 4 points both sides. It's just I want this space, 2 point space between the buttons and this, and then I'm gonna increase the stroke to 1.5, or you can even bump it up to 2 points. So I think I like 1.5. So here we have. I'm gonna zoom out. So if you are doing this and you cannot see this outline, maybe your clip content is clicked. Make sure for focus state you make it unchecked. So now we have default, pressed, hover, and focus states ready. Now we want to have a loading state. I've made this component. So you guys, sorry, it's not giving me the fill I want. Yeah. So this I made. Give me a minute. I think there is a problem. Back. So this component is a loader. It's in 20 by 20 size, the same size I'm making the icons in. So let me quickly create this for you, how I did this. So you're gonna need an ellipse of 20 by 20. Then you see this circle, do this and do this. So you have gotten yourself a similar shape. Now what you want to do is have this shape. Wanted to copy this. Okay, so have this shape by, let's say, when you are working with these shapes with the ellipse and the cut, you can manually enter some data or you can use this to resize it. So I want around 70%, and this needs to be smarter, so maybe 80%. And I want these corners to be round, so I have given it a big number. Now in the fill, I'm gonna go and add a radial fill. Angular one, sorry. Angular one worked better. So I was testing with this, yeah, Angular. So when I have the Angular fill, it will give me two colors. On the darkest side, I'm gonna add my blue 200 shade, and the other one I want to have white, but I want to reduce the opacity to this 0%. Now, if I add a white background behind it, you will be able to see how it looks. Not background. So maybe red one. Yeah. So you can see how this has a angular angular color in it. So you will see all four of them. Just focus on all these three. So they have the same color in them, like this. So what I did is make this variation and then moved it here, and then I moved it by 25 points, like this. You might want to fix the color angle though, because we don't want this sharp line to be coming. We needed this here. I will rotate the color using this so I don't see this sharp line. Now I am gonna go here and first, before moving the color, I want this state to be, I'm gonna place this on top, then this one is like here, and to make the same shape, I'm gonna move this here and make it bigger from this side. Sorry about that. Now again, I'm gonna use these arrows to remove this line sort of problem. So I want my colors to be at a certain, like one end, this end, and then this end. Again, I'm gonna make a copy and I'm gonna move this. Sorry, with before moving the colors, I need to move this 25% and then bring it here and then bring it here. 75%. Now, again, using this, I brought it here. So I'm gonna remove this background, rename all these to one. So I'm gonna call it circle. And then I want to create a component set. So now you will see that I didn't apply the properties here. Let's do that. So I'm gonna call the property one the state. This one is the first state where we land at. This is the second state. This is the third state. This is the fourth state. Now we need to prototype it. To quickly show you how the prototype looks. So with these, all of these fours are connected. So they are all connected on after delay, 1 millisecond delay, and one is connected to two and two is connected to other. So what I have to do is like remember this setting. So I was testing. Usually I apply the duration on 300 millisecond, but I was checking the components and different YouTube videos, and 300 was not working fine the way I thought it will. So I applied 200 and it looks very smooth. So one is connected to two, but it is after delay of 1 millisecond. And I want this to be smart animate. And let me check. Ease out. Yes. Ease out of 200 millisecond. So I'm going to do the same after delay 1 millisecond, and smart animate kept its setting. Gonna do the same after delay 1 millisecond. Then since we want this to keep rotating itself, we're gonna close the loop, connect the fourth one to the first one, and you can see that when I do this, I'm keeping the same settings here. So here I'm gonna click here after delay of 1 millisecond, and bam. Now you can use this component or you can easily add another variation. For this particular challenge, you will probably need another variation. So I'm going to add another property from variants, and it will be color. It will be blue. This one is blue. No, I'm sorry. I need to call it primary. Now I need the white one. So I'm gonna select all four of them and make a variation which is white and place it on the side, and then I'm gonna select these colors and make them blue will be 5ff. Just I'm gonna change this blue to ff. So I'll probably need more variations, but this is how I made it. I'm gonna place it at side and use this one. You can like now again I made the animation before, so now this also has the same setup applied. Now I'm gonna use this white one, copy, and we are coming back to the loading state. Loading state will be same as default state, and it's just the one of these icons will be loading. So instead of removing the icons first or two, we will be adding another section in it. We will see how this is gonna go. For right now, I think this is all what we need to add. And then I'm gonna make another copy of my default button and bring it to inactive, save the buttons. And I am gonna go to my grays, and this one 400, I am gonna choose it as a fill as my inactive button. So the fun part is that this can be it. Like you should be able to make a component and start working with this. No shadows, nothing else, like basic interactions are applied. But here we are gonna go few steps further and work harder on it. So I am going to go, oh, I need to change the name. So this will be loading. This is not default anymore. It's a loading state. This is focused. So I'm removing focused. And this is inactive. You can change the name from both of these places. So and active. Now in active loading state, what I'm thinking is that when a button is loading, we don't need to show these icons. Let's remove them. Honestly, let's do this. It looks better. I need to do some more research to confirm this, but I think the icons disappeared. I just got a little doubt right now. I'm gonna select all of them and I'm gonna create component set. I created the component set since button was the first words I was using as a name, and then slash, after slash I was using the different states. So look how it automatically did that. Sorry, separated them. So I want them to be this in same order: default as one, pressed as second, hover as third, focused as four, inactive as last. And this name of this property is state. So these are states. Now I will drag this and make this bigger. So all these components stay in the same frame like this. Now we have one state ready. Again, when we have the component ready, we have to do a few more things before making other variations. So we want this button, I'm in prototype state. So this button to become this one when we are hovering over it. So I'm gonna attach them on hover interaction. Sorry, on hover interaction. I want it to change to hover and smart animate will be 300. So normally 3 to 600 number is good. So smart animate is smoother. We will be doing that. But for the same button, if it is again another interaction I have applied, but when it is pressed, it will be changing to this state. Now for the focused, so focused button doesn't need an interaction here within the component. It will be page to page based. Loading also will come as a page to page interaction. So right now I'm gonna make a copy of this using Alt. You will see, don't drag it out because this is the main component. This is what we have as a variant. You will see the difference. Now I'm gonna drag and create a frame around it, and I want to play it as a test ground. So just place the button in the frame and see if it is working the way we want it to work. So if I hover over it, sweet, it does the magic. If since hover and pressed are the same things at this point. Okay, there is one problem though. Why this is not visible? Let me increase the opacity but change the fill to 10%. Oh, if I have a pressed apply, hover applied, hover needs to be connected with the press too. Okay, this is tricky. Yeah, this. So this is a little bit of problem. I will remove the hover interaction because right now my focus is on mobile. So again, if I do this, this is pressing and it's not working. I'm gonna have to refresh. Sometimes Figma does this to me, that it makes me refresh the prototype with the recent updates. Yeah, this. So if I pressed it, it should show this. Perfect. When I remove the press, it changes. So we have done, like we are seeing the results that we want here. I just removed the interaction from the hover. You saw you can apply the hover interaction when you are working in the web. But right now I didn't want this, so I removed the hover interaction from the button for now. You can also keep the hover but remove the pressed one. So it's your choice. Nothing too serious about it. Uh, okay, now we need to apply some properties. So you see this button, this will be different for all, buttons. It will be save, it will be next, it will be continue, it can be anything. So I have clicked on one of these layers, which is button layer, and I'm gonna select this layer by this using this icon which says select matching layers. So all of this same layer will be selected. You zoom out to see if all of them are selected. Then here I see this icon apply variable, and I want to apply a property on this which will help me create the text, edit the text from on the side, because it gets difficult to edit layers within layers. So I want this to have this property, label property, and the value is can stay button, or you can even call it label with a big. So create the property. So as I did this, it changed the text, and it should not change the color. I brought that back to the white. So what now happens is, in our example, you will see another property. If you change it to the button, it will be changed. It will be updated. So save list, enter. So it is easy to add it from the side. And when this is applied to all of these, this interactive property will keep the changes. So when you change the state, the text is changed accordingly, like is kept accordingly since the property was applied. Another property we want is the leading icon property. So I am going to select all of these layers, and then I have this similar icon. I can choose the hair. So there are two properties I want to apply on this icon. One, I want to be able to control if it is visible or if it is not visible. Other, I want to be able to change it easily. So for instant swap property, to change it, I see this icon. I click on this. It says instant instance. I'm going to keep the word, and I want this to be called leading instance. So this is the by default icon that is there selected. You can update it from here, or there are preferred icons that you can add from the components of the icons you already have. So if I click here, I can also have triangles chosen. So you can even remove using these minus preferred values, but it's up to you how you want to move forward from here. But this property is applied. Now, if I go back to my component, there is another property, leading instance, where I can, instead of selecting layer after layer, I can select the whole button and change the icon from here. So by default, it will show me the preferred one. So I can change this, or if I want to see all of them, all of the design system icons that I have, I can see where it was created. So I created them here. So I can update it like this. I want to do I want to apply another property. Again, gonna select all of the leading icons. Now I am going to go in appearance section and find that again this weird looking icon, and here click on the eye property. So there is like whole appearance property that you can apply on anything. Means this will make this that you want to see this or not, that sort of property. So I'm gonna call it leading icon, but I'm gonna add show so it is clear, leading show leading icon. So appearance has on and off property, means if I turn it off, this icon will be hidden when I apply this, or but I want it to be visible, so I'm gonna keep it true, create the property. So what it does it when I am on this instance is the copy of your main component. You see this toggle where you can turn on and off your first, means leading icon. So sweet thing that if this is turned off, the other property that lets you select from the drop down also disappears. So this is good UX Figma. Now I'm gonna do the same with the trailing ones. I'm gonna apply the trailing instance property, and I don't want the preferred values in this, so I remove them. I have applied the property. I'm going to keep this selected from the appearance section. I'm going to add click and I'm going to write show trailing icons. Why I'm using specific long words? Because you cannot have one property twice. Means same name you cannot add twice. So I cannot write show icon two times. So I need to be a little more specific. Now look at this. So I should be able to turn this off, and look at this and change this button. Enter. So this is sweet. Now, all of things that I was supposed to do here are done. There are some design details that I want to work on before working on the other variations. Um, let's do them. This is going to be a long video. So as you can see, this button has some shadows applied from the top and from the bottom. So just look at the details. Here I have a drop shadow applied in a darker color. This is the same color and that the fill the same color of the fill, and it is on 60%. So let's apply this. I'm gonna bring this here, place it right close. So I just explain instead of finding out things. So this default and this focused, they need to have, and loading, they are in same color, so I want them to have the same things. So I am gonna apply the effects. So drop shadow, the same fill color is in the shadow color. You can have dark shadows, black shadows, gray shadows. This is for this particular videos I'm choosing to go with bluish shadows. I have a soft vibe, so I have added that. So the percentage that I'm going for is 60, and X position is 0, Y position is 4, and blur is 8, and spread is -2. 0, 4, 8, -260. 0, 2, 8. Now this is not is selectable. I need to type -2, but this is not letting me add that, because this clip content needs to be enabled if I want to make the spread active. So -2 here. So you will see this looks a little lifted 3D, but it needs some more work. Again, you can stop here and just keep this way. No worries on that. Yes, but I would like it if you could explore more. Now, I need to apply an inner shadow of white color in 223. Perfect. 22340. I'll explain. Drop shadow, make it inner, 2x, 22, 3 blur, spread we don't need it, and the color we need is white because the light was coming again from the top. So we need this color, this place to be shining, this place to be shining. You know what? Blur can be too, same. This is making it more lifted. And this can be 30. So if you look at this, look how shiny and beautiful this edge is, like if the light is coming from the side. Now we need something from the bottom. So this is the darkest color, like this color palette has this dark color. I'm gonna copy this because the light is less on the bottom. Sorry. We want this to, like, these x's, these x and y positions are for the x's. So plus values will be, just check two-dimensional plane. So these are the plus values and these are the minus values. So I want -1, mean this and this side of the button, and the blur will be 6. -1, -3, 6. I'm gonna zoom in, inner shadow, -1. Let's move it in the bottom, change the color. I forgot the percentage. -3 and 6. Let's go again. Sorry, I should have written this down. 100%. Yeah, I wanted this darker. So I was trying different percentages. Um, and it looks better at 100%. Yep. You can also try to keep it to 3 actually. It looks better when it is similar to what we have here. So maybe -2, -2, 2. This also looks good. Maybe 3. So it is a little bit of experimentation that I did. That's why I'm saying these number and changing in front of you, because you can see you can get the look by altering these numbers. Any look you want. So now look how it looks very 3D and popped up from the screen. Now we have this variation. Let's test it. I have made this variation and placed it in the frame and see how it looks. Now you do this since we have yet to apply the colors to the hover state. So see how different. This is so flat and this is so lifted and 3D. Sweet. Now we want to have the stuff applied on our this state. Just to be clear, these three buttons which are in same color, they have all the same effects applied to them. Okay. So I'm gonna show you what I have done here. I have applied an inner shadow of -2, -3, and 6. So what I want to do is to fix it to the same. Like the changes I made here, the inner shadow was 222 and 223. So I'm gonna do this. The light one, I want 222, and the dark one, I want 2, -2, and a little bit of 3. And I'm gonna, since you know how to apply the inner shadows, and you will be mostly working on copying what colors I'm using or maybe experimenting a little. So I showed you what I did and I'm gonna copy paste it, these effects. So copy these effects and apply on both pressed and hover state. Now, if you see something like this, means this needs to have clip content applied to it. This also needs to have clip content applied to it. Focus state should not have clip content applied to it. So we can see that, and perfect. Inactive state don't need any shadows. You can play around with some, if you are working with gradients, you can do that. But right now I'm using one color and let's test it out. Look how it changes. So this is connected through prototype. That's why I can see the interactions there. Other things are coming, will come if you can change the type from here. Like if I go focus state, if I go loading state, and if I go inactive state. Focus state, there is something you need. Oh, what happened here? Oh, I thought the colors changed. My bad. Okay, here you need to know one important detail, that this is set to this frame that I added as a in the for the focused. These constraints need to be left to right and top to bottom, meaning when the button resizes, it fits automatically. Like you see, I am changing the color, I am removing the icons, and see how it is working the way it should. Now I need to show you what happens in the loading state. So I need to replay it. This is what we wanted with that loading animation that we quickly made. Yes, so we are done with our primary state of buttons. For secondary buttons, if you explore or notice, so they are doing different styles of buttons. So there are different things you can do. I want to choose the outlined one like this, but feel free to explore what other options there are. There can be without outline buttons with just small amount of fill and everything. So it's your choice. I'm gonna, sorry. Before that, I need to add this variant from the properties, and I am calling it hierarchy with the wrong spelling. H capital. So this is primary. The buttons we made in so much time is primary. Now we want to go and create secondary buttons. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna call this secondary, and I'm gonna select and move them here under this heading, and we can resize the frame. Same, everything is applied. We just need to make changes. Oh, it rearranged it. Let me fix that. This needs to be here. This is press state, so it should go here. This is focus state. It stays here. And okay, Figma, don't mess this up now. Perfect. I have rearranged them. Now what I want is these buttons. Like I have everything, all the variations there. I need to adjust them. So these three buttons, sorry, let's start one by one, not to confuse you guys. Zoom it in a little bit. I want the fill to be FF. Okay. See, look what it did. Now I want the shadows to be gone. Let's not make them go actually. I want to select the three layers and I want the color to be this blue that I'm using. Not from here, selection color. Make sure if your fill is messing up means you are using different type of designs, outline and fill. So it would be better if you select the color from selection colors. Now this is definitely not good. So I can try exploring and see what happens if I remove one of these shadows. Honestly, none of these are working. I'm gonna simply need a stroke which is set to inside and the color is the same, that is this. So as simple as it is. We don't need to have a lot of stuff applied to this particular style of button. You can explore, there are other options you can do, but again, I have talked about shadows and stuff here in the primary state a lot. I don't want to spend too much time here. So let's do this. Remove these effects. Fill needs to be white, but these all of these elements, they need to be that blue color that I copied, and this needs to have a stroke of 1.5 and selection color. Perfect. Now you can see this press state. This was a little white version of white. It is gone. So I want a little of blue shade in it instead. So it has that press state there. And to test, I'm gonna go and select, reset it to the original state, secondary and default. So let's test this. I don't like this. It keeps telling me to refresh it with every change I make. So this is what's happening. Now let's make this design. So I'm gonna copy the properties and paste them here and change this color from selection to this same blue. And I want to do the same, copy properties to these two because they have the same styling. I want the focused outline to have a same color, so don't worry about that. It appears occasionally, so it doesn't need a lot of work on um, the changing the color with every change we are doing. This color, I need the label to be in the same color. Now we have the loader. We want the loader to be in the primary color. See, we got the need. and inactive color state will be same. You don't need a lot of variations in inactive state, but I've seen people make an outline version of it too. I personally don't like it because it looks very clickable. So I'm gonna remove this because no, we don't need to have copies of the same design. So whenever somebody switches, it will be in this inactive state automatically if we don't have a separate design. So if you do want a separate design, you will alter this one to the outlined one, or maybe any other design pattern you are following. Let's quickly make a link design. I'm gonna make a copy. In the hierarchy, I'm gonna add link or whatever name you have added using arrows to move here. I forgot to make a copy of this. So it's not a problem if you go step by step. I will need so links don't usually have inactive state, but this is why I told you guys to explore these other options. So if you have ghost buttons and if you need to use them alternatively, like the link will be used as a text only button and the ghost button, in that case you probably need inactive state. For my case, what I'm following, we won't be needing because I plan to use them as a link only button. So here, let's make things interesting. We definitely don't need the outline, so let's remove that. Now we are left with this state. This press state, it doesn't need to be a focus state. Since this is a link only button, it doesn't need a lot of, spacing around it. So we can make it shorter. 28 looks good. Or honestly, you don't, sometimes, as you can see, we were checking different platforms. The focus state was missing. So you know what? I'm gonna remove this. It's your choice. How do you want to go? It's just, for me, it looked ugly. And yeah, for link, we will be using, they can different thing. There are different things you can do. So you can have a link underlined like this, or you can explore the thing that we did in yesterday's challenge with the different settings and stuff. So I definitely do want to make it a little far away and a little thick. I want the thickness to be same as the thickness of the letter. So 10% is looking same. I'm gonna copy these properties. Oh, I can't apply these properties. So let me select text, paste properties, and then change the color. I will be going a little back and forth from here to make it quicker. So just bear with me. So this is one way to go about it, making all of them colored. Sorry, underlined. The other thing you can have it uh, in this, in the from the hierarchy, you go to link, and in the default version, I can remove the this. When I'm testing this, let's refresh it. So the line appears when it is hovered upon or pressed upon, like this. And in the link buttons, you don't need these. So I selected all of them, and I'm gonna press Control to deselect these ones, and I'm gonna remove these circles which show the press state. So this is what I want. Now, interesting thing, you see that I brought secondary colors. So I want my links to be in secondary colors. So primary buttons, good, but secondary buttons, they can be like blues too. But here I want this. So I change my 200 color to this 200, and the for lighter one I am bringing selecting all these and pasting this. I will be needing another version of this, means a secondary version. So I'll make the component the same way I made previously, but right now I'm just updating the color to show you guys how it looks. Also, links don't you mostly require the loading state. They just open something for you and stuff. But if you are treating them as a ghost button, then you will be needing a loading state. So this is the scene you have to make wisely. And yep, I think we have all these variations that we need. Now I'm gonna select all of them. I have selected one of them, like clicking anywhere, select one and control all will select all of these. I need to have these in bigger sizes. So I'm gonna just, sorry, before that, I need to have, I'm refixing this hierarchy on the top, then comes the state, because first you need to decide this. Let me move this again. Hierarchy goes on the top. Another variant I need is for the size. You can choose to name them small and medium or anything, or you can call them by the size, which is what I'm going to do. 40, the 40, these are 40 size. Now select all, make a copy like pressing this plus button, and now I want 52 size buttons. I'm gonna use arrows or even drag, you can drag it simply. Uh, bring it here. Trying my best to keep them under the same, you see this setup, but let's see. Let me make this white. Give me a minute. I am back, so I just made things a little wider. Now, since we are using the same padding, I'm just gonna select all these which have 50, which I want them in 52 size, and simply increase the size from 52, 40 to 52. They are bigger. Now, you see the problem by making it bigger, this space, it looks cut off. So we want more padding here. So you see, we initially added 20 padding. We wanna bump this up. So let's try 28. Looks reasonable. If it was a squarish box, a rectangle one, less rounded, it would have been better to keep it 24, but with roundness, we need to add some extra padding. So that's why I'm going with 28. You can try 32, but it is, honestly, it also doesn't look bad. But I like 28 better. So again, it's your choice. This. There is one more detail I want to tell you, that these links, they don't have to be, and they don't have, if you are making and intending to use these links only button as only links, you don't need the padding around them. So what you're gonna do is select these and remove this sizing. So you are gonna make it hug content. So no vertical padding. This padding on the side, we can also make it 0. So it will be just a link, or you can just simply also click on hug on the content. So it's your choice and planning on what you want to do with these. I want to use them multiple ways, like ghost and the link only button. So that's why I also added the focus state and loading buttons and the padding. I kept the padding. So let's find, we are coming to the end. Let's add another variant. So it is an icon property. So what we want to have is, it's a full button, full icon, or you can make a yes or no property out of it. So icons, both icons, maybe icon only. Let's call it icon only, honestly. It is more clear. So is this button, these buttons we made are icons only? No. So by default, this will be no. But now for the other case, I want it to be only icons only. So I made the copy. I'm gonna bring them here. Now what we're gonna do is remove the text. So I selected all the text. I'm gonna remove the deselected by I just pressed control and deselected all of them. I'm gonna backspace and remove them. I'm gonna select the second leading icon. Again, select all. Then I'm gonna press control on my keyboard. Sorry, shift on my keyboard and deselect these ones which I want to keep, and then backspace these ones. Now I just need to fix the sizing. So I'm gonna select these. So if this is an icon only button, the height needs to match the width. So 40 by 40 it is. Simple decision. These, I'm gonna select these. If this is a 52 height button, the width needs to be 52 too. So we have all the buttons. Since we applied all the prototypes on the first component, you see all of these copies that we are making using the plus button have everything applied to them. And I think we have everything we want. Let's not dig into it in any further. You can make yourself error states of buttons and success state of buttons too. Make sure to analyze which buttons in success state you will never be checking in or looking at. And there is one more thing that we are left with, our width, uh, fixed and versus hug content. So I'm gonna select this button, copy it, and I'm gonna go into my previous challenge and copy this screen. You see, if I remove this sign up button with this one and remove these initial icons, label it as sign up or maybe continue. And I definitely don't want this button to be like this. And I definitely can do this, but in mobile, I don't want this either because I want user to click it in a way where from like give it a better touch area. So what I'm gonna do is just apply fill content, and I also want it to be bigger, so maybe 52. So you see, if you have made the button right, this should how it behaves. So if you did if this is not how it is working, means you did something with the alignment or your auto layout. So check for the steps that we did step by step, like making things where they need to be aligned in the center, where there needs to be like in center we have three options, so which one should be applied and everything. So here is what we have uh, for the buttons. I would say that you decorate it on your own in this or this way, anywhere, any way you want, or make a short GIF and upload in a dribble. I don't want to touch base on that. This is already a big video. Sorry. See you guys in some next video. Bye bye.